morning and welcome. Kathy Gray Avatar is back with your Sunday morning announcements. If you're with us on Facebook or YouTube, please subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, drop us a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back. If you're with us in person, hello everybody here. And if this is your first visit, please sign the guest book either in the lobby or online at oakcliffuu.org/guest. Today, Renée Brill begins to wrap up our examination of Tima Okun's study of white supremacy culture with Individualism and I'm the Only One. We hope you can stick around after the service for Talkback, where we gather in a circle and discuss the sermon and related topics. Please note that Adult Religious Exploration will return in October. Coming up this week, every Monday, our Widening the Circle of Concern work group meets on Zoom at 7 p.m. If you'd like to help us on our path to becoming an anti-racist church, please consider joining us. Questions or concerns? Email wcoc@oakcliffuu.org. There's no Teamwork Tuesday on the fourth Tuesday of the month, but it will return next week from 4 to 6 p.m. This Thursday, September 28th, the Social Justice Ministry Reading Group will begin discussing Standing, One Man's Odyssey Through the Turbulent 60s by Ernest McMillan. The group meets on Zoom at 7:30 p.m. Standing is available at Pan-African Connection, Deep Vellum, and through Amazon Books. Please contact Mavis with any questions at sjm@oakcliffuu.org. Okay, folks, one of our biggest fundraisers is coming up on October 29th, our Haunted Forest. You can help by spreading the word, and we need volunteers to help set up and tear down the day of the event. And of course, we need ghosts, ghouls, and goblins to haunt the forest. Please contact Rita at admin@oakcliffuu.org if you can help. Details on all of this and more can be found on the back of your order of service and in the weekly e-blast. If you're not receiving the e-blast, and you should be, just sign up at oakcliffuu.org/e-news. Last but not least, we have a member anniversary to celebrate. Emily Brock joined the church September 21st, 1997. Yay, Emily! That's it for now. Hope you have a great day and rest of the week.
Let us begin our sacred work. We'll light the chalice. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness.
Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
Our opening words today come to us by Linda Susan Ulrich. Begin your journey home. Come now, all who are broken and cracked. Come to the place where your shattered pieces are the raw materials of mosaic and kintsugi. Here you will find welcome. Among the armless dolls and cozy pilled sweaters, loved exactly as they are. Come now, all who are thirsty and burned. Come to the place where cool waters and aloe soothe your bedraggled soul. Drink your fill and salve your skin. Then fill your canteen and return once more to the struggle, knowing the well will remain unobstructed. Come now, all who long for the stars. Come to the place where that vision of infinity is written upon the people's hearts. Hold it until you've memorized the way. Set your compass to point towards hope and begin your journey home.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us, and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. And with the grace of age, we share the wonder of you. And we believe that growing is an answer.
In our community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another, our joys and sorrows. We do this because each person in this community has value. Each person's experience matters. We share our sorrows with one another today, knowing that sorrow comes into each person's life, knowing that together we offer comfort. Please share your sorrows publicly by posting them in the Zoom chat, or send them to our Facebook Messenger, or speak them aloud.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
We also share our joys with one another, knowing that joy comes into all our lives, knowing that joy calls unto joy, knowing that together our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration. Please share your joys publicly by posting them to the Zoom chat, or send them to our Facebook Messenger, or speak them aloud. Welcome. Welcome to the UU Church of Oak Cliff. Here we gather in sanctuary where we're free to pursue our own unique and individual spiritual journeys in an atmosphere of acceptance, compassion, and celebration. We seek to build a community where what you believe is less important than how your beliefs guide and inform your participation in the world. Ours is a community that values the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. To our returning visitors, we are so happy you have joined us again. We know your time is precious and we're honored to have you here today, and we would like to extend a warm welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. We recognize the bravery it took to come into a new place, and we're glad you're here. Ours is a covenantal church, Latin for come together. Covenant means a solemn agreement or promise from the heart regarding a course of action between parties. The practice of promising to walk together is the core of our faith. Simply put, it is a guide for the behavior we expect from ourselves and each other. We are bound together by the promises we make to one another, and we recite our covenant during every worship service. Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together.
Porque nos amamos una al otro. Honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y aceptación. Así que hacemos pacto.
Good morning. I would like to invite you to take a couple of moments to take some deep breaths with me and to center ourselves in some quiet this morning. So let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. And in. And out. And in. And take a moment to feel into your body. If you're not quite comfortable, adjust yourself in your seat. That might mean leaning back, or it might be sitting up taller. You need to stretch. Take a moment to do that. And let's take one more deep breath. And out. Well, welcome. It's nice to have you here with us this morning. This morning, we're working on Tema Okun's White Supremacy Culture Still Here article. And this week, we're going to work on individualism and I'm the only one. Now, when we talk about individualism as a society, in some ways, individualism is good. And the kind of individualism that I'm thinking of is the kind where we respect the inherent worth and dignity of every person. You're just like a part of our being a covenantal and not a creedal religion is you're entitled to your own conscience. We believe that you should determine for yourself what is divine, whether anything is divine, whether there is a God or many gods or no God, what is worthy of respect, of safeguarding. We believe in your individual perspective, in your individual experience, individual likes and dislikes, and that no in particular quality that you have should mean that you are treated as less than. So those, I think, are the good sides of individualism. This article from Tema Okun is talking about what I think of as irresponsible individualism. So a kind of individualism where it's just me all by myself. I'm an island unto myself. I don't have to worry about you. You don't have to worry about me. All I have to do is take care of myself, and I don't know anybody anything. That I certainly don't believe. And that kind of perspective goes against our seventh principle, which is the respect for the interdependent web of life. So it is, to me, an irresponsible individualism is an individualism that doesn't recognize some certain truths about our world that we live in, that we have an effect on those around us and that those around us have an effect on us, that we are not self-made. We have not pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps, that there are people to whom we owe inspiration, to whom we can thank for feeding and clothing us and housing us. The poetic way that we often say this in Unitarian Universalism is that we drink from wells we did not dig and sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. So that's what we mean when we talk about our interdependence and a part of the interdependent web of life. So Tema Okun is talking about this kind of irresponsible individualism or extreme individualism when she's talking about individualism as a quality of white supremacy culture. Here's a couple of ways that she says that it shows up. For white people, it might mean seeing yourself or demanding to be seen as an individual and not as a part of the white group. So the idea that I might be white, but I'm not one of those white people, or I might be white, but I'm not racist. A failure to acknowledge any of the ways that being a part of a dominant identity, such as gender, class, sexuality, religion, able-bodiedness, age, education, to name a few, are informed by belonging to a dominant group that shapes the cultural norms and behaviors. And I like this framing of a dominant group as opposed to the majority and the minority, which is, I guess, the verbiage that I grew up with, but that was probably 30 or 40 years ago. So for young folks today, that might have always been a bizarre way to say that. But the dominant group, the group that's deciding what is normal, or who makes what is normal. For BIPOC people, individualism forces the classic double blind, where Black, Indigenous, people of color are accused of not being team players, or in other words, punished or experience repercussions for acting as an individual when doing so threatens the team. For white people, a culturally supported focus on determining whether an individual is racist or not, while ignoring the cultural, institutional, and systemic racism, the strongly felt need by many white people, if not most white people, to claim that they are not racist, while their conditioning into racism is relentless and unavoidable. For white people, it could look like a belief that you are responsible for and qualified to solve problems on your own without any input from anyone else. For BIPOC people, it might mean being blamed and shamed for acting to solve problems without checking in and asking for permission from white people. This also looks like little experience or comfort working as a part of a team, which includes both failure to acknowledge the genius or creativities of others on the team and a willingness to sacrifice democratic and collaborative processes in favor of efficiency. See the double bind for BIPOC people above as well. I think this is a particularly interesting question and an interesting point that Tema Okun is making here, that most of the way that we are brought up in school is to do our own work, to work independently and individually. We're rewarded individually for our successes, punished individually for our failures. But there's not a lot of actual practice in collaborative work. So here, I think this is useful and important to remember that when we're practicing democratic decision-making, when we're practicing collaborative work, to remember to give ourselves some space to not quite get it right the first time, to need to remember that we are trying to do things together. And I think it's really important that she's pointing out that our goal should be to acknowledge the creativity and the genius of others, to make sure that we're pointing out and being appreciative of the work that we're all doing together. This also looks like a desire for individual recognition and credit, as well as failure to acknowledge how what we know is informed by so many others. She also names a quality of white supremacy culture caused by individualism is isolation and loneliness. I think that's something that I can definitely see as a hallmark of my living before I became a part of a covenanted community. The idea that I was all on my own to solve my problems, and maybe even that I was the only one who had those problems to begin with. This also looks like valuing competition more highly than cooperation. Collaboration, which is little valued, little time and little resources are devoted to developing skills in how to collaborate or to cooperate. So remember, we might not necessarily have those skills to begin with. We do have to practice them. And we probably, as new folks are coming, we have to continue to remember that we are all learning how to cooperate and to collaborate together. This also, she says, accountability is going to go up and down, but not necessarily accountability amongst peers. And she also says that what ends up happening is that the organization values people who can get things done on their own without needing any supervision and guidance, unless doing things on our own ends up threatening the people in power. So people who can do things on their own without needing to check in or collaborate or wanting to check in or collaborate tend to be given more power or more authority to do things. I'm the only one, Tema Okun says, is an aspect of individualism. This belief that if something is going to get done right, I have to be the one to do it. It's connected to the characteristic of one right way, the belief that I have the ability to determine the right way and am entitled or qualified to do so in isolation and without any accountability to those most impacted by how I define the right way. Little or no ability to delegate work to others or micromanage. She specifically points out that this often looks like putting charismatic leadership on pedestals or positioning yourself as a charismatic leader, romanticizing a leader or yourself as being the center of a movement, idea, issue, or campaign, hiding or covering up the flaws of a leader or your own flaws in fear that the organization, movement, or effort can't survive, and defining leadership as being those who are most in the forefront and most vocal. There are a lot of antidotes that she lists to these kinds of individualism. First, she recommends these kinds of irresponsible individualism. First, she recommends that we do our internal work to acknowledge and identify the ways that we are a part of a dominant group, and how being part of that dominant group can affect us not just materially, as far as being more materially sourced, having more material resources, but that it can also extend to psychic, spiritual, and emotional benefits. We want to seek to understand how these benefits of being a part of the dominant group are in reality very toxic, because our complicity with being positioned both as better and normal requires that we dehumanize those who are designated as less than or abnormal. She points out that we should acknowledge that all white people have internalized racist conditioning, and that anti-racist commitment is not about being good or bad. It's about figuring out what we're going to do about our conditioning. And this is one of the things that really was helpful for me when I was getting started in this journey, is to let go of all of this shame I felt about having racist conditioning. Was to recognize that actually that's very, very common. There wasn't really anything I could do to prevent having that racist conditioning, but that I do have the freedom and the ability to work on that kind of conditioning. So to do our personal work, and she also asks us to focus on cultural, institutional, and systemic manifestations of white supremacy and racism. She asks us to work into teamwork and collaboration, and to make sure that we're including people in our collaboration who are going to be the most impacted, share the most risks of whatever choices that we make. We want to make sure that that collaboration is recognized in the way that we organize our teams and the way we organize our governance. And we want to make sure that we're honoring the process as much as the product. So it's not just that we get things done. In fact, actually, what is most important is that the way we do things is collaborative, is cooperative, is representing of our values. There's no shortcut to this where if we get all the tasks done on our checklists done, then that's great, and we can worry about being Unitarian Universalists tomorrow. That's not how we do Unitarian Universalism. We have to practice our values and our principles every day in the tasks that we are doing together as a part of our community. She also recommends that we make sure that we are holding people accountable collectively, that we create a culture where people feel that they can bring up problems to the group and use meetings as a place to solve problems, not just to report activities, and to make sure that we're working to hold ourselves accountable to a definition of what leadership is that assumes a collaborative and collective approach. To also make sure that we are acknowledging mistakes in a way that allows us all to learn from them as opposed to being shamed by them. Strategies that involve appropriate boundary setting and restorative practices where necessary. This particular quality of white supremacy culture is one that I feel very bracing, very frictive, very self-isolating in a way. I think that idea that I'm an island unto myself and I owe no one and no one owes me and that I'm all alone is the thing that makes the world's problems seem impossibly big, right? How are we going to solve 200 years or 400 years or 600 years of racism when it's just me and I'm so small? How are we going to make sure that everybody is fed and housed and has access to beauty and education? All of these huge, large problems that involve the whole climate or the whole world in case of climate change, they seem really insurmountable when I'm only thinking about me as one individual person trying to solve them, or when I think of myself as somebody who's not the right person because I'm not powerful enough or influential enough. I'm not a senator or a scientist or famous, right, or wealthy enough to be the person who's going to solve that problem. The reality is that all of those problems are problems that we solve together. And we solve them together by, one, learning how to work together, but also to remember that we're incredibly powerful when we work together. It is a kind of magical, beautiful, creative, life-giving, life-affirming thing when we get together and solve a problem, make our world or our neighborhood or our little corner of Dallas or Maine just a little bit better than it was before. So I hope that you hear this as good news, the good news that you're not alone, that you matter, that when you're not here, that you're missed. And when you are here, we rejoice with having you here. And we know that you are valuable, both for pleasant company and for your ideas and your dreams and your talents. That is what it means to be in community together. So I hope that you'll take these ideas with you with this week and to think about ways that you can lean into teamwork. Maybe that's expressing gratitude. Maybe that's learning how to facilitate a meeting so that everybody is able to contribute. Maybe that's just recognizing people who go unrecognized for the work that they do. I hope you have a beautiful week. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
We have spent a long time in this church working on widening the circle of concern. We have a long ways to go to implement all the anti-racist and anti-oppressive material that continues to grow. But one of the things we did early on was we created a covenant for this work, the Widening the Circle of Concern covenant. And it is printed on your order of service, and it's going to be appearing on the slide. You're welcome and invited to join me in the recitation of this covenant. You're welcome to also rise in body and or spirit as you are willing and able. We, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, commit ourselves to the study and dismantling of racism and oppression within our congregation. We commit our congregation and ourselves to the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression. We commit ourselves to listening, to learning, and to action. When we fail, we commit ourselves to trying again and again. We covenant to begin this work and to continue until all of us can truly say that we are a beloved community of justice, equity, and compassion. Thank you. Our widening moment reading is by Margalie Belizaire, and I had her bio and misplaced it, but she is a UU minister who, from what I remember the bio, she came to Unitarian Universalism as an adult, well into her adulthood, and said at some point, this saved her life. So she has written a piece called Prayer for While in the Struggle. Spirit of light and love, spirit of resistance, spirit of generosity, that which serves as our conscience in this work that we do to dismantle white supremacy, to empower the marginalized, to insist that Black lives matter. We have been angered. We have been saddened. We have been pushed to the brink once more. We are also inspired and seem resolved to do better this time, to not simply get to the other side of this moment, but to get there morally healthier, to get to a safer space for Black bodies. Spirit, help us to understand that we each have a role in justice work. For our liberations are tied to one another's. Give us the clarity of mind to know what our individual part is in the struggle, that there are many ways to protest injustice. Help us to find our way and commit to it. Spirits, we ask for guidance. Send us strength and endurance. Help us to give our all to this and hold nothing back, for precious lives depend on it. We will be imperfect. Rest assured that we will mess up over and over again, and we must do it anyway. May we summon the courage to tear down this system of injustice and get busy creating a world community with justice for all. May it be so. Amen.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place that is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. Members, if you are contributing cash toward your pledge, please use the envelope provided and write your name on it. To text your donation, see the number on your order of service. For more options, see oakcliffuu.org/donate.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
Our closing words for today by Emily Richards, May You Be Changed. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are right now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming our better selves.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know
We are nearing the end of our service and will extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts till we are together again.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el color de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.